starting point when I'm sitting in front of the prospect and say, hey, based on what you've filled out, it's a simple questionnaire.
Yeah, I agree with you, but I'd like, if you're going to do it, I'd like you to split test it, because there's definitely some positives in there going into the call knowing that. There's also some negatives, because if you go into the call knowing it, and I say, like, let's say I'm talking to Nico, and I say, hey, Nico, based upon the research that I'm looking at, you need XYZ. Nico's need for XYZ is like way down here. But like a doctor, if I'm like, Nico, by the way, doctors do this, okay? They already saw your chart. The nurse does all the work. They already know what's wrong with you, but they slow the hell down and they go, Nico, so talk to me about what's going on with your knee. Man, it's clicking, right? They already know you got a bucket handle tear of the meniscus, right? But they got to get Nico to schedule the surgery, right? So they can't walk in there and go, hey, based on the charts, you got a bucket handle tear of your meniscus. That's going to require surgery. It's not going to heal itself. When do you want to get in here? Nico's going to go, I need a second opinion. Talk to me about the clicking. It makes this weird clicking noise. Got it. Just out of curiosity, has it ever frozen on you? What do you mean? Like, has it ever locked to where you can't? Yeah, it did. Ooh. Has that ever happened when you were driving? Not yet. Could it? Absolutely it could. Walk me through, how do you unlock it when it's locked up? It's not good, it's super painful, but then I hear a pop noise and then it works again, and I don't know how long. You know, based on everything that you're telling me and the charts that I'm looking at, you got a bucket handle tear of the meniscus. Good news, bad news. I'm gonna start with the bad news. This is not gonna go away. It's not going to get much worse, but it's not going to go away. It can lock up while you're driving a vehicle. It can lock up when you're running from a mountain lion. It can lock up when you're walking down the stadium with a beer in your hand watching a baseball game and you fall down the stairs of the stadiums. I'm not trying to be funny here. That actually happens. Here's the good news. We can get it fixed. The recovery from the surgery is very short. It's less than 2 weeks. The surgery itself is minimally invasive, and we will get it fixed, but it is not going to fix on its own. All the physical therapy in the world is not going to fix that. Does it make sense to get you in here so we can get this fixed so you can go to a baseball game and not have to worry about falling down the stairs? So here's what I would do in this point. If you're going to have the pre-screener ask that question, same way like you're going to ask that patient to go get an MRI before you have the call. Still be the doctor and don't go, hey, I'm looking at your charts, you need XYZ. Make them say it. Because when they say, you know, what's your biggest reason for wanting to stabilize your financial future? Well, I got some grandkids. Talk to me, even if the pre-screener said, I've got 3 grandkids. Talk to me about your grandkids. Well, there's 3 of them, and I'm really happy. They're all very smart, and I'd like them to be able to get into whatever college that they get accepted to, okay? When you say whatever college, where were you thinking? I mean, my wife went to Stanford. I would love them to go to Stanford. Just out of curiosity, what's Stanford costing these days? Even though you already know, right? Mm-hmm. It's $125,000 a year. Based on everything you're telling me, what I would like to do is peel off. What I would recommend doing is that we have some aggressive yet somewhat fixed. I'd like to peel off about $4 million and put it in that vehicle. What that is going to do is, no matter what happens with the market, you're going to get some very good returns. We're going to call that the Stanford bucket. Okay? If the kids end up going somewhere else, great, we can redeploy those assets at that time. But what we don't want to have is a situation where you're sending 2 of the 3 and not all 3. Does it make sense for us to peel that off? Great. Now on the next things, based on the fact that you had told me you do want to continue to work in the business, but you are looking to sell the business, we're going to bop, right? So we get them to, even when we know their situation, we want them to say it. Because the gravity then, when you make your recommendation, there's a huge difference between me saying, hey, based on the form that you filled out, I'd like to recommend XYZ, and me saying, you know, Barrett, because of the fact that you told me you want to get these 3 kids through Stanford, I'd like to recommend XYZ. Even though he put the same crap on the form, I want to make him say it again in front of me. And even if it's a Zoom call, I want to make him say it in front of me on the Zoom call. Even if it's a phone call, I want to make him say it in front of me on the phone call. Don't make them do that on an email, because people aren't honest when they're typing.